Good morning. Welcome to Unity in Lynnwood's silent meditation time. I'm Byron, Prayer Ministry Director. This is a time of sacred listening to the God of your being. So glad you are here, whether in person or virtually. I invite you to close your eyes if you're comfortable and prepare yourself for meditation. Let go of your shoulders, relax your jaw. Breathe in and out, slowly and gently. In and out, in and out. After a few breaths, go to the nothingness, the allness of your being, and listen. As thoughts come, as they usually do, repeat the breaths, and once again, listen to your sacred being. Continue this cycle in the sacred silence. When noise comes that distracts, remind yourself it is a call to go deeper. Listen in the silence. Listen to the song of your sacred heart in the silence. Breathe a little deeper. Gently move your feet. Thank your sacred self. Appreciate the gift of the silence you gave to your body, mind, and spirit. If words or thoughts came to you in the silence, take a few moments and write a few words down to remind you. From our sacred being, send love and blessings into this sanctuary, knowing all who entered are uplifted and blessed. We give thanks for Dr. Richard and Matthew and all the wonderful volunteers for their special service to our community. Breathe in a little deeper, and when you're ready, open your eyes and your heart to be a welcoming, loving presence in the world. And so it is. And so it is. Bless you. Have a wonderful week.
Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. Everything I've ever done, everything I've ever seen, everything I've lost or won, everything I've ever dreamed has brought me here to the present moment, here to a new beginning here. And I'm seeing life so clearly now. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul.
Good morning on this glorious Sunday morning. If you'd like to close your eyes, please do. What a beautiful fall morning we are having. The leaves are turning from green to vibrant red, yellow, and orange. The air is crisp, clear, and much easier to breathe. Fall symbolizes a new beginning and a fresh start. Take time to observe all the nature that is around you this time of year. We give thanks to God who has made all this possible. There is one life. There is one source by the name we choose to call it. There is one ever-expressing, unfolding, emanating as its creation, as you, as me, as us, and all. We are all beautiful creations of God. May our prayer today leave us knowing that we are brothers and sisters, that we are members bound together in the family of life, and that this family of life is held in sufficiency. You are enough. In equilibrium, in balance, in harmony by a God who loves us just that deeply. Divine love lives within all of us and in the beauty of nature. And so it is.
Here I go, deeper, deeper, deeper than I've ever been before. Here I go, closer, closer, closer to my sacred source. Here I go, deeper, deeper, deeper than I've ever been before. diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of life, to the sweetest kind of love. Get ready, my soul. All right, will you please join me in welcoming our youth as we sing You Are the Light. You are the light, you are the light, you are the light in this world. You are the light, you are the light, you are the light in this world. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine so bright. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine so bright. You know, with costumes like this, I think I should see some smiles. I mean, come on. It's amazing.
Good morning. It's like there's a holiday happening soon. I don't know. It's our Happy Halloween. So yesterday we went on the Alice in Wonderland adventure and we had a really good time. So I want to say thank you to everyone for all your support and the donations because it makes events like that happen. It was so much fun, a lot of walking. And we're all a little tired, but we're ready to party today. So we're having a Halloween party for our service today in Friendship Hall. And I think we're ready to go. So would you please stand and join me in blessing our youth?
You are the light in this world. Let it shine so bright. As the youth exit, will you please greet one another while respecting sticker colors? We are the light, we are the light, we are the light in this world. We are the light, we are the light, we are the light in this world. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine so bright. Let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine so bright. We are the light, we are the light, we are the light in this world. We are the light, we are the light, we are the light in this world. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine so bright. Let it shine. Let it shine so bright. If you know the words to this song, you're welcome to sing along. If you don't know them, I bet you'll learn them pretty quickly. I used to think God was the sun. God is the sun, but God's so much more than the earth and the stars and all of creation. God is creator, all in all, and God needs us to shine its light as me. So use me, oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. Command my hands, what must they do?
that heals all creation. God is creator, makes all things new, and God needs us to shine its light as me, as you.
There's even choreography.
So use me, oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. God needs us to shine its light, and God needs us to shine its light, and God needs us to shine its light as me, as you. So use me, oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. Show me all that I must do. Show me all that I must do.
Sounds great. Thank you so much. Thank you. So next Sunday, I'm very excited to welcome back Lavon Hardison. If you've not heard her, you're in for a treat. So she'll be here next Sunday with us.
Within the silence, I heard a voice gently ask me to let go. Suddenly I knew I had a choice about the way my life would go. He said, come with me, give me all your guilt and fear. Trust me with all of your pain. And from that day, when you give it all away, your life will never be the same. I have followed that voice the best that I could, and it's brought me graciously this far. I know this day my life will be as it should. The light of Christ in me will outshine every star. He said, come with me, give me all your guilt and fear. Trust me with all of your pain. And on that day, I gave it all away. My life has never been the same. So listen now, you know you can hear it too. Just stay still a little while and let God's voice sing a song of gratitude, and you will hear how much your Father loves his child. He says, come with me, give me all your doubt and fear. Trust me life will never be the same. Yes, on that day when we all give it away, our light will glorify God's name.
Thank you so much.
For those who were here, it was a grand party, wasn't it, on Friday night? A grand party. Deep thanks and acknowledgement to the many volunteers, the talented chefs who made it possible. We will have exact financial numbers for you in upcoming weeks. Celebrate with me, however, as I know you will, that we surpassed every goal. Every goal. Your Director of Prayer Ministries, Barbara Thorpe, would like to host all of us in an apple cider toast following this service in celebration. Please join her in Friendship Hall. It is the joy of my week to yet again bask in the noble depths of you. So I begin, as I all so often do, I begin with gratitude. Thank you for the privilege of being able to join you this morning. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you. Practical spirituality, welcoming community. That mission statement, short in word, undeniably deep in meaning. Every week I like to support this mission statement with one of the supporting statements we developed in conversation with your Board of Trustees in late 2014. Does this belong to you? Today I offer the second of those 6 statements. It reads as follows: we seek to discover and share spiritual practices which are repeatable and reliable, and to infuse these spiritual practices into every area of our daily living. If you're a member of our virtual audience this morning, please allow us to say good morning to you by dropping your name and location into the social media chat window. If you would like to pray with someone following the conclusion of this time together, you may start the process by writing prayer at unityinlynnwood.org. Include a working telephone number and expect a call from an anonymous caller following the conclusion of this service. If you are a member of our physical sanctuary, on the other hand, you will find a trained prayer chaplain in the general geography I occupy at this current moment, immediately following service, that you might have a face. Would today's prayer chaplains please stand and allow us to recognize you? Oh, what a privilege it is, what a gift to be ever supported by Unity in Lynnwood's prayer chaplains. Oh my goodness. Please lift your voice to our online audience, which even now includes Pascaline from Nairobi, Dale from Lake Stevens, Karen Breen James from Poulsbo, Deborah Van Walson. She is the facilitator of our 12:30 meetup on Sunday afternoon. She facilitates from New Jersey. Please lift your voices and say, we see you. We see the light of you. We see the truth of you. Regardless of time. Regardless of distance. Thank you for being here. Oh my goodness, online sanctuary. We are honored by your presence today. Your prayer chaplains offer what they call a divine wholeness session for those in our physical sanctuary following the conclusion of our time together as well. Please join them in the family room. This is an experience in which, without words, without touch, another simply stands in his or her highest possibility for you. To have another person stand in the highest possibility of you. Did you get that growing up? Maybe sometimes. Words of invocation, take them in the manner best suited to you today. Allow them to wash over you with your eyes closed, or speak them aloud, or speak them enthusiastically. Welcome to unity. You get to do it your way. They read thusly: though imaged and named variously, there is a singular and eternal ground of being, from which all life emanates and into which all life retreats. We choose to call this ground of being God. By extension, we come to understand that we are spiritual in nature, human in expression, and limitless in potential. We gather today to remember such truths, to celebrate our unity, and to honor all life. And that really is quite enough, isn't it? And yet I will now say the same thing using 20 more minutes of your time. Francis Johnson, thank you. His family wants this community to know that a longtime member, his name is Ed Carroll, he moved beyond our sight this past week. So while to the body we join with the wisdom of ages in saying ashes to ashes and dust to dust, to that soul, to that eternal essence that would not be defined by such matters as earthly entrances and earthly exits, we simply say farewell. We say thank you, and we say Godspeed, dear brother, Godspeed. Let's take a moment. Let's enfold a family in love, in silence, as they prepare for these important days. And so it is. It's been written that your one pointed intention has infinite organizing power. Now, at least that's what I got from this week's reading. Or I should say that that's the first thing I got from this week's reading. The second thing I got from this week's reading is that while your one pointed intention has infinite organizing power, you have to trust God/nature, isness, the universe, the great cosmic computer, whatever you call it, to do its organizing. You have to relinquish any tendencies to control, to dictate, demand, to manipulate. You have to become a farmer of sorts who relinquishes any tendencies to pluck the seeds you've planted to see if they're really growing. Said more clearly, your one-pointed intention has infinite organizing power, and you have to let it do its job. I might be the only one here this morning with control issues. I also might not. And maybe that's a good affirmation with which to start our day together, to start our week. I open to the infinite organizing power of God today. Would you like to take it? It will appear on your screen. I open to the infinite organizing power of God today. I have to tell you, I think that is the sweet spot that we are to discover. How am I to assume the authority that's mine to assume? After all, I don't imagine we're here to be mindless victims of everyone and everything else. How am I to assume the authority that's mine to assume without imagining myself to have unilateral control over everyone and everything else? How am I to become a true co-creator to the experience that is my life? There are a lot of words that would point us to such a sweet spot, but in the end, they can only point. We are required to cultivate finer sensibilities than any words can deliver. Let's begin today with the suggestion that God has an infinite number of ways to support its creation. Let's start there. And because God has an infinite number of ways to support its creation, let us be humble enough to consider the possibility that God can still surprise us today. Let us be humble enough to recognize the possibility that God can still delight us even today. And because God has an infinite number of ways to support its creation, to tell God how to support you isn't prayer, it's control. Oh, dear God, please facilitate a bank draft for X number of dollars, just like that deposed prince who seems to have my email address. That's not prayer. That is to give an unlimited creative impetus one opportunity to support its creation. It's to so narrow your mind as to how your support should come that you blind yourself to the higher possibilities which are ever swirling and circling about you. It's to demand that the infinite contract to our human smallness. It's to become the proverbial man on the rooftop during the flood. Perhaps you've heard the joke. No, thank you, swimming person. He says, God will save me. No, thank you, speedboat person. God will save me. No, thank you, helicopter person. God will save me. At which point the proverbial man on the rooftop drowns only to drag his sad, long face up to heaven where he meets anthropomorphic God. And of course, anthropomorphic God says, what's with the sad, long face? After all, I sent you a swimming person, a speedboat person, a helicopter person. This is why I will always be heard telling people, never insist that your good be delivered through your checkbook. Allow your one-pointed intention of divine sufficiency enough room to prove itself in your world in whatever way it would. It wasn't so long ago that we were told that a retaining wall required shoring at an estimated cost of $50,000, which is approximately the cost of my first house, but that's a different story for a different Sunday. Your board of trustees at that time demonstrated this principle quite beautifully. They didn't constrict into demanding money. They stayed open, they stayed alert, they stayed expansive. And among the speedboat people, if you will, who pulled up to our cosmic rooftop was a generous engineer from our congregation who offered a free engineer's report that ultimately documented the first assessment as completely false. We didn't need retaining wall work. We didn't need to raise $50,000. We needed to stand firm in our one-pointed intention of divine sufficiency, and otherwise to stay available to whatever form its infinite organizing power might take. Now, and because there's nothing you can do to make God start being more God today, to beseech God isn't prayer either. To beseech God is irresponsibility. God is already busy being God right now. God is ever pouring itself forth in support of its creation in the form of ideas and serendipities, resources, assurances, balances, corrections, adjustments, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. There's nothing you can do to make God be more God or to make God be less God than God is being in your world right now. There's nothing that has to be redeemed, earned, forgiven, recompensed in you, except that it might help you become more available to that which already is. Would you like to hear that again? Yeah, not happening. It's when we have declared ourselves to be flawed or unworthy, guilty, indebted, that we fail to make ourselves available to God being God. And when we fail to make ourselves available to God being God, we do what humans tend to do. We look to the heavens and we shake our fists and we say things such as, "Where'd you go, God? Why'd you stop being God today?" We become like little children who cover their own eyes and say, "Well, mommy can't see me anymore." We become like fish searching for water. To beseech God is irresponsibility because it reflects a consciousness that believes God can be less than God is always being. It reflects a consciousness that believes in a fickle God subject to fickle exclusions, favorites, and prejudices, just like us. Irresponsibility begs for that which we imagine to be absent, while understanding opens to that which we know to be present. God is busy being God right now, right where you are. Ours is to give ourselves to that flow of sufficiency by abandoning all habits, all beliefs, all norms which would keep us stuck. I would imagine this to be the consciousness from which Jesus is recorded to have suggested that the forgiveness of God and the forgiveness of self are bound. It's not because God is transactional as we are. The spiritual path isn't about God letting us off the hook. The spiritual path is about us letting us off the hook. We, Matthew and I, we were sitting in a coffee shop in Liberty, Missouri, not so many years ago. And a man we'd never met approached our table. And he dropped a business card and he said, "There's somebody you really should meet." And then he left. So we called, and within a matter of days, we were consulting. Now, we didn't know why we were consulting, but we were consulting with a bank president in the sanctuary of a decrepit and abandoned church building about how we, as established innkeepers in Liberty, Missouri, about how we would reimagine such a space. So we gave him our thoughts. And apparently he found them compelling. It was soon thereafter, and it was to our surprise as well, it was soon thereafter that we had negotiated a deal in which we had 90 days to open the second of our inns. This one was complete with a hair studio and a massage studio, event spaces, overnight accommodations. We had a wine list that would rival any 5-star restaurant. Those 90 days included us learning far more than we ever wanted to know about steeples with pigeon poop up to the knees. Up to the knees. Rats, bats, dead birds, collapsing decks, and other delights. But we loved the possibility of an inn housed in a turn-of-the-century cathedral, complete with preserved European paintings. So I thought I'd share with you this morning a sneak peek at what launched on the 91st day. think it's fair to say we've been in the church business for a lot longer than we've been in the church business, you see. A turn-of-the-century cathedral didn't fall into our laps because we had fat checkbooks. The building fell into our laps because we had open minds. That's the point. It's not accurate to say that we were rich, but that we were ready. The fifth spiritual law of success is about just how to give rise to the pure potentiality that is God in our lives. If we stop demanding and if we stop begging, how then are we to pray? After all, I can't speak for you, but I certainly grew up in a paradigm in which Santa God worked reasonably well. So maybe you arrived this morning with a perceived need. You're welcome to call it to mind. Maybe you arrived this morning with something of a perceived need, maybe a desire. Maybe you arrived this morning with something of a longing or a vision that would have its way with you. And I do suggest that that is the right order of things, by the way. Desires, longings, visions that would have their way with you, not the other way around. We're moving from a materialistic spirituality in which success is defined by what our highest ideas might bring us into an evolutionary spirituality in which our success is defined by how our highest ideas might grow us. In the end, Chopra's law of intention and desire isn't about your gettingness. It's about your becomingness. You see. I have to believe that the late Wayne Dyer spoke to the same concept. I'm able to quote him: motivation is when you get hold of an idea and don't let go of it until you make it a reality. Inspiration is the reverse. When an idea gets a hold of you and you feel compelled to let that impulse or energy carry you along. So if we stop demanding, and if we stop begging, how then are we to pray? Maybe you have a need this morning. Maybe you have that desire. Chopra offers you 5 steps, suggesting that we start simply by giving ourselves to what he calls that gap between thoughts. In other words, as you lightly hold that need in mind, Chopra would suggest that we close the eyes. And if you're comfortable doing so, let us walk through his 5 steps, holding that perceived need, that longing, that vision. We close the eyes. And we simply breathe. In a sense, we carry that perceived need, that vision, into those gaps between thoughts. We soften the physicality of us. Maybe it can be said that we distance ourselves from anxieties, impatience maybe. might feel like we're allowing ourselves to expand again. We allow ourselves to become available beyond any stresses of daily life. Breathing. And as we become established in what Chopra calls that essential self. Now, in this case, I imagine that essential self as a calm and deep water. As you become established in what he calls that essential self, imagine dropping that perceived need, that desire, that vision into those still waters. Now, others might imagine this essential self as fertile soil. Imagine dropping that perceived need, that desire, that vision then into fertile soil. And then even as the outer world might clamor forth to offer its doubts or its skepticisms, judgments, pessimisms, let us determine to hold close to any sense of possibility. Let's determine to quietly hold close to any sense of trust that the ripple we've started, that the seed we've planted has infinite organizing power indeed, that the world's low opinions hold no sway over a consciousness rooted in God. And then let us simply become curious. If the ripple we've started, if the seed we've planted has infinite organizing power, let's give rise to what I might call a holy curiosity. Just where will that ripple go? What will that seed yield? Let us give rise to expectant hearts, considering that no matter the answers, the results will be for us. And as we move toward the closing of this process, may we come to see with new eyes then, eyes which have been opened into those likened to a child, wondrous eyes, wide. And let us at last come to that point, to what we might call that Sabbath moment, at which we release the details to be exactly as they will. We no longer need to control. We no longer need to beseech. We no longer need to resort to any of the countless human mechanisms which have been tried to their limits. The fifth spiritual law of success says, breathe in. It says, look up. It says, see possibility. It says, give thanks. And then it says, let go. The fifth spiritual law of success says, breathe in, look up, see possibility, give thanks, and let go. It is from such a consciousness that I believe we can at long last say, thy will be done. It is from such a consciousness that we can finally and at long last say, use me.
Use me, oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do.
And so it is, and so it is. If you are new to Unity, if you are newer to Unity, if you are newer to Unity in Lynnwood, you will find resources designed to support you in the chair back in front of you, unless, of course, you're on the front row, in which case you have to run to the back row. UIL also offers a welcome ambassador. Walayn will meet you at the welcome and information station if you have any questions about who we are, about what we believe, about what we teach, about the resources that are available to you. If you would like to stop by the gift shop, Miriam or Candy or someone would be delighted to share with you a complimentary copy of Unity's Daily Word. It is a collection of daily, spiritually oriented inspirations. We provide an opportunity for you to practice the law of giving and receiving. It is with deep thanks that you choose to practice the law of giving and receiving with us. I turn to the words of Charles Fillmore, who was noted to have said, "It is divine love through me that blesses and multiplies all that I am and all that I have." You are welcome to exercise any of the vehicles that appear behind me. Should you have a check or cash, there is a bowl upon exit as we lift our voices together to say, divine love, that's us together, divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am and have, all that I give and receive.
We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love.
what a time now, what a time to be alive. In this great turning, we shall learn to lead in love. Visit www.unityinlynnwood.org for all events, services. We are eager to offer 2 follow-up discussion groups to today's service. The first one begins at 12:30. It's offered online. Visit the calendar page at unityinlynnwood.org. Register. Check your junk folder for the link, which will be automatically sent. If you do not receive it, write administration at unityinlynnwood.org. There will be a quiz. There will be a quiz. If you don't receive it, write administration at unityinlynnwood.org. Again, the online meetup is hosted by Deb Van Walsen in New Jersey. You are in for a treat. Friday at 4 o'clock at Third Place Books in Lake Forest Park, you may drop in and enjoy good questions and 60 minutes of intriguing conversation facilitated by our own Don Macon. Don, will you stand and let us put a face with a name, please? That's Third Place Books in Lake Forest Park. Small group ministry. Oh, have a look. What wonderful, wonderful things. Today, students of Myrtle Study Group. It is hybrid. Visit the calendar page at unityinlynnwood.org. Register. The third act, bring your own bagged lunch. The Friday following Thanksgiving. If you would like to join with me in picking up litter along Alderwood Mall Parkway, please drop me an email. We seek a team of 4 to fulfill Unity in Lynnwood's responsibilities as the Adopt a Street sponsor of Alderwood Mall Parkway. We get to wear orange vests. It's quite a privilege. And finally, Thanksgiving Eve. Arguably one of my favorite gatherings of the year. This year, we're calling it the Thanksgiving Eve service and pie reception. Yes, November 23rd, 7 o'clock p.m. Bring your favorite pie. Mr. and Mrs. Fillmore, Unity co-founders, taught praise and gratitude as powerful spiritual disciplines. We challenge you to press this idea to its highest potentials in what is a music-rich and celebratory service of gratitude. Take a deep breath. Close the eyes again. Let us close with that same discipline with which we opened. We call it prayer. It matters not what name you ascribe. In fact, I quite encourage you to find the name that works for you. Let us close with the audacious claim that the God of my understanding is present, that the God of my understanding is ample. I do not call upon the infinite to constrict itself into any human smallness I might harbor. Rather, I give myself fully to be elevated into the rich potentials of God itself. The wisdom within me calls me forth, and I say yes. The sufficiency within me calls me forth, and I say yes. It is life itself, which beckons me to unfold into higher and truer versions of myself. And if you're like me, you can respond by saying yes, by saying yes, by saying yes. Our prayers are prayers of yesness this morning. And we close this time together, as we always do, with sung words of blessing, with sung words of farewell.
May the long time sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure